I was reading some commentary, and there were comments by women and men going back and forth, arguing about a scene in the movie I Want to Dance with Somebody Who Loves Me, the 2022 film about the legendary late great icon Whitney Houston. And it was the scene where Whitney confessed to her longtime best friend and manager, Robin Crawford, that she had a affair with singer Jermaine Jackson, allegedly. And I'm going to say allegedly because, well, for one, I wasn't there. And then number two, it was a rumor, from my understanding, way back in the 80s that Whitney Houston and Jermaine Jackson were involved in a fling together. But they recorded a song together on her first album, Whitney Houston, and the scene was taken from there. And Robin Crawford was highly upset and angry to find out that Whitney was involved with Jermaine Jackson. And there was a part that was very interesting. Whitney said to Robin, "Why are you so angry? I thought we agreed to date men." And then Robin replied, "We agreed to date men, but we didn't agree to sleep with them." Now, she, of course, used some colorful language there, but of course, I can't say those explicit words here on YouTube. I won't say those explicit words. So they went into an argument, and there was a lot of breaking of glass and whatnot. So this scene really troubled my spirit, because there's so many layers to the complexity of relationships between women as same-sex partners. And it was very heart-wrenching watching this scene. And Whitney you can tell that they were trying to show how Whitney struggled with being a superstar, as well as, and this was right before she actually became like a superstar. Like, I think Whitney just came out to be, she was born to be a star. But this was during her first recording of her album. And I mean, her first album was a mega success. So she had to balance being in the limelight, being a Black woman, being from a very religious family, and having a family reputation of a long line of singers. She had a lot on her plate. And then she was involved with a woman named Robin Crawford. And the only reason why they're depicting this now in the films, and also Robin Crawford has written her own book revealing her relationship with the late great singer Whitney Houston. And I had very mixed feelings about the book. I haven't read the book, but I've heard some of the audio commentary of Robin Crawford speaking about it. And I just always believed that if Whitney Houston wanted the world to know that she was involved in a same-sex relationship with another woman, she would have done so while she was alive. So out of respect for Whitney Houston, I think that displaying her relationship on the big screen. It's kind of a way for people to selfishly satisfy their curiosity about her sexuality. But Whitney Houston never stated out of her mouth that she is a lesbian or that she was in a romantic same-sex attracted relationship with her longtime best friend, Robin Crawford. However, there's been many rumors about her sexuality. I understand in the 80s, the 90s, she was fighting rumors all the time about her sexuality. But to make a long story short, I just want to say that although I do believe that Whitney Houston was a same-sex attracted woman, I really don't like that we have to rely on what other people thought of her sexuality because she's not here. Although there have been many people who have been in close relationship with her who have stated that she is what you would call bisexual or pansexual. But either way it goes, I love Whitney. I've always loved Whitney. I miss her greatly. And just her example gives you a lot of insight on the struggle of being a woman, being a Black woman, and the experience of being a same-sex attracted woman in a world that doesn't approve of your sexuality and the hardships and the struggles that you may encounter. But I said all of that to say that there was this commentary about this scene, and the comments were from women who were against Whitney allegedly being involved in a romantic sexual relationship with longtime friend Robin Crawford. And there was a couple of comments that stood out to me. One of the comments was, well, if Whitney really was gay, she would have stayed with Robin. But obviously she's not gay because she was not with Robin. She was with Bobby Brown. The other comment that was by a woman, and these women actually identified as heterosexual because they were saying that they were straight or that they were heterosexual women. And the other woman who identifies as heterosexual made a comment saying, Whitney Houston probably did mess around with Robin Crawford, but so does a lot of women. A lot of women mess around with women, but we don't take it seriously. It doesn't last because that's not what we really want. It's just a phase. So what you're saying is that just because Whitney Houston was in this scene with this woman, Robin Crawford, you want to make her out to be a bad thing, that she was gay all her life. But I hate that everybody wants to make Whitney gay because she clearly was not gay, because she kept telling Robin she did not want to be with her. All right, so that was the end of the commentary. And it was very interesting because I'm using this as an example where you can see, publicly with the commentary, how heterosexual women tend to feel about lesbian relationships or relationships between same-sex attracted women. And I was just using that scene as an example because it's something that everybody could actually view. They could actually see the scene if they've seen the movie, or if they just look at clips of the movie. You can listen to people make comments or write comments about the scene. And this can be used in an example of just everyday experiences that same-sex attracted women go through when they're dealing with heterosexual women. Because heterosexual women, they speak on behalf of lesbians from their own lens. And heterosexual women are not able to speak for lesbians because they are not lesbians. They do not know how women who love women think or feel regarding women. But yet, many heterosexual women will put themselves in the shoes of all lesbians and say that it's just a phase. And this is why I want to discuss this, because for one, when heterosexual women refer to lesbianism as it's just a phase, that is based upon their own personal experience when dealing with women. Because let me be clear, there are heterosexual women who are involved with other women. And it's more than just on a friendship level. Like, they literally have sex with women. They experiment with women all the time. But they do it for various reasons. And they use these heterosexual women use their experiences with women to paint a whole picture as if all women think the same way. But lesbians are not straight women, and straight women are not lesbians. Lesbians think differently than straight women. And lesbians know this. But for some odd reason, straight women never ever compute that they do not think like lesbians. But yet they want to make sure that everybody knows that lesbians think like straight women, when we absolutely do not. These are heterosexual women giving their perspective about sexuality. And if they want to give their perspective about their own personal experience, that's fine. But they need to make sure that they make a distinction between their personal experience as heterosexual women when they were involved with women. Make a clear distinction that that's their experience, but this is not defining or placing all women as having the same experience. And they also need to state that lesbians have their own experiences. And I am not in a position to say how a lesbian woman thinks or feels. And I have no idea really what the lesbian experience is like, because I am not a lesbian. I am a heterosexual woman. That's what heterosexual women should say, but they never do. And a lot of this has to deal with heterosexual privilege. Many women who identify as heterosexual, they do not consider the experiences of lesbian women because they're privileged. They are automatically accepted in society as heterosexual women, and they don't understand the daily obstacles and challenges that lesbian women face. But yet, most of these heterosexual women are so quick to tell lesbians what they're thinking and how they're feeling. And that's absolutely wrong. It's presumptuous as well. I have titled my video, Straight Women Can't Speak for Lesbians, by saying it's just a phase. My name is Giselle Wallace, lesbian life coach and author. I do provide my lesbian perspective here on my YouTube channel. I provide content catered to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and LGBTQ plus people with the intention to build community and to provide inspiration and information for us. If this interests you, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. So yes, I titled this video, Straight Women Can't Speak for Lesbians, by saying it's just a phase. So going back to the commentary under this scene in this movie of I Want to Dance with Somebody Who Loves Me, which is in reference to the late great singer Whitney Houston, when the heterosexual woman made the comment that everybody wants to say that Whitney Houston was gay, but if she was really gay, then she would have stayed with Robin. But obviously she did not stay with her because she wanted a man. So that proves that it was just a phase. And all women do this. They'll mess around with women, but then they'll leave them because they really don't want to be with a woman. They really want to be with a man. End quote. So this is the mindset of a heterosexual woman who has quote unquote messed around with women. End quote. So these women are clearly saying that they never took their relationships with women seriously, and that they used women for whatever cheap thrill that they had at the moment. But for them to refer to all women as being the same way, it's a misconception, and it's not the truth. Because when you think about how heterosexual women think, they can think a couple of ways. There's of course more ways than two ways, but these are the two ways that I'll say they'll think. The one way they'll think is the heterosexual women who are not serious about being in a long-term relationship with a woman. She doesn't have any romantic feelings for women. However, she may be interested in experimenting with the woman just to see what it's like to be with a woman sexually. And there's different motives behind that. She may be interested in finding out why men are so fascinated with women. So if she experiments with a woman, then she can kind of understand why men like women. But then she ends up finding out that she just doesn't like it. And the reason why is because she's a heterosexual woman. She could be involved sexually with a woman because she may think the woman is genuinely physically attractive, and she just wants to explore herself. She just wants to discover her sexuality, so she's involved with the woman. Maybe she is just trying to fit in with the crowd. A lot of times people do things just to seem cool, or just to say, yes, I did that. Yes, I slept with a woman. They just do not take it seriously. And that's why it's so easy for heterosexual women to say it's just a phase. The second situation with heterosexual women are heterosexual women who have never been involved with a woman sexually. They've never even thought about it. But because they're heterosexual women, they cannot fathom or compute that a woman would be attracted to a woman romantically or sexually. They have no idea how that can happen, because they are solely attracted to men, sexually, physically, mentally, emotionally. The heterosexual women are exclusively into men only. So when they learn about a woman who is a lesbian, it baffles them. They cannot understand why a woman would want to be with another woman. And they'll just conclude that it's just a phase. Surely she's going to move on and be with a man, because being with a man is the best thing a woman could ever do. And heterosexual women use the quote, "it's just a phase," as a coping mechanism. And this is my theory. I always say that heterosexual women refer to lesbianism or same-sex attracted women as being confused or hurt, or it's just a phase, because usually it's a woman that they know. And this could be her own daughter, for example, or it could be her sister, or it could be a close friend. And she learns that her daughter, her sister, or her close friend is a lesbian, and it's shocking to her, and it may devastate her. So in order for her to cope with learning that someone that she would never imagine as being a lesbian, she'll say it's just a phase. And she's projecting onto the young lady who is a lesbian, who knows who she is. She's projecting her the heterosexual woman is projecting her insecurities and her fears onto the lesbian woman by saying it's just a phase, because it's her way to cope with the reality of knowing that this person is a lesbian, because she does not want to accept it. So it's a coping mechanism for heterosexual women who absolutely have no interest at all in women in a romantic or sexual manner. And therefore, heterosexual women, they lead with the idea that all women are heterosexual. And if they are not heterosexual, then there's something that happened that was detrimental in their life that caused them to turn away from men. And now they want to be with a woman, but it's only temporary. See, heterosexual women who put themselves in the position of being all-knowing about all women always refer to lesbians as being a temporal situation, that their relationships are not authentic, that their relationships are not long-term or long-lasting. Because in a heterosexual woman's mind, she only sees herself with being with a man. And she doesn't think that it's logical for a woman to be with another woman. She doesn't even consider lesbians as being a real sexual orientation. And I know this for a fact because I know women personally who think like this. They're heterosexual women, and they don't consider, for example, lesbianism to be a sexual orientation. They don't consider or even think about that there are actual women in the world who live their lives fully and completely as lesbians, that they are healthy women, happy and fulfilled women. They can be single as lesbians, or they can be in a partnership with another woman as lesbians. They cannot, heterosexual women who are not able to understand that there are other women in this world who are not heterosexual, they don't even know that it exists, that there are lesbian relationships in the world. So they do not, of course, think that a lesbian relationship could ever work, because in their mind, they've never seen a lesbian relationship ever. And the reason why they've never seen it is because in their mind, they don't think about it. So they don't pay attention to it. And then also, we live in a heteronormative society. A heteronormative society is not going to advertise homosexual relationships. And the only time that they usually show it is maybe through some type of entertainment medium, as if we're to be entertainers or we're here to entertain straight people, and I actually despise that. But they always, want to label like gays or lesbians as if we're here. For example, gays, lesbians, or bisexual people. They'll put us in music videos, for example, and they make it look like we're all about partying and sex and rock and roll. And that's just a horrible depiction of same-sex attracted people. But yet that's how heterosexual women and just heterosexual people tend to view all same-sex attracted people. But I just wanted to discuss that because I think it's definitely something that needs to be addressed, because it's very presumptuous for most heterosexual women to consider lesbians as being fictitious or it's just a phase. Because we as lesbians are real. We are not fictitious characters. And it's not a phase. It's our life. My name is Giselle Wallace, lesbian life coach and author. Thank you for listening. Have a rainbow day.